Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the rich and diverse history of Bahrain, an archipelago in the Persian Gulf. Often when we think about this region, we think of oil wealth and modern skyscrapers, but Bahrain's story stretches back millennia, long before the discovery of oil. Let's explore its journey through the millennia, from its ancient origins as a center of trade and perhaps even paradise to its role in the modern world. Get ready for a wild ride as we uncover lost civilizations, navigate imperial conquests, and witness the rise of a nation. Our story begins not in the realm of history, but of myth. The ancient Sumerians spoke of Dilmun, a paradise with sweet water and abundant fruit. Whether Dilmun was real or mythical, we can't say for sure, but evidence suggests it might have been real. Enter Bahrain. Discoveries at the Saran temples point to a thriving civilization around 3000 BCE. Dilmun was at the heart of trade routes connecting Mesopotamia with the Indus Valley. Ships with copper, pearls and dates converged on Dilmun's bustling ports. This wealth made Dilmun a target for empires, each leaving their mark. As centuries passed, the Dilmun civilization faded, giving way to new powers. By the 6th century BCE, the mighty Persian Empire under the Achaemenid dynasty cast its shadow over Bahrain. The islands, with their strategic location, became a valuable asset in the Persian Empire's trade network. Persian Empire official. Imagine the bustling port cities of Bahrain now flying the banners of the Persian Empire. This was a time of great cultural exchange, with Persian influences blending with local traditions. In the 7th century CE, a new force swept across the Arabian Peninsula Islam. Bahrain quickly embraced this new faith, becoming one of the first regions outside of Arabia to adopt Islam. The islands came under the rule of various Islamic caliphates, including the Umayyads and the Abbasids. Imagine, if you will, the year 930 CE. The Islamic world is in shock. Mecca, the holiest city in Islam, has been sacked. The attackers, a group of radical Muslims known as the Qarmatians. At the heart of this event was Bahrain. The Qarmatians, an Ismaili Shia sect, had established a utopian republic in Bahrain. Led by Abu Tahir al-Janabi, they challenged the Abbasid Caliphate. Their radical beliefs put them at odds with the Sunni majority. The Qarmatian sacking of Mecca was a turning point. They desecrated the Kaaba and took the Black Stone. This act cemented their reputation as both revolutionaries and heretics. Chapter 4, Between Empires, Portuguese Ambition and Persian Revival. As the Qarmatian state in Bahrain declined, the islands once again became a focal point for regional powers. In the 16th century, a new player arrived on the scene, driven by the winds of exploration and the allure of spice: Portugal. In 1521, a Portuguese fleet led by Antonio Correa captured Bahrain, eager to control the lucrative trade routes of the Persian Gulf. The Portuguese, with their cannons and caravels, established a foothold in Bahrain, hoping to turn it into a key link in their growing maritime empire. Imagine, for a moment, the Portuguese fortresses rising above the harbor, a testament to their ambition and military might. But their grip on Bahrain was tenuous. The local population, resentful of foreign rule, resisted Portuguese attempts to convert them to Christianity. The Portuguese occupation of Bahrain would be short-lived. In 1602, the Safavid Empire, a powerful Persian dynasty, ousted the Portuguese, reasserting Persian control over the islands. Chapter 5. The Al-Khalifa, a dynasty, takes root. In the 18th century, a new chapter began in Bahrain's story, one that continues to shape the nation today. In 1783, the Al-Khalifa family, originally from what is now Saudi Arabia, took control of Bahrain, establishing a dynasty that has ruled ever since. The Al-Khalifa, led by Sheikh Ahmed bin Muhammad Al-Khalifa, were skilled strategists and navigators. They consolidated their power by forging alliances with powerful tribes in the region and shrewdly navigating the complex web of regional politics. Under the Al-Khalifa, Bahrain flourished as a center for pearling and trade. The islands once again became a crossroads of commerce, with ships from India, Persia and East Africa converging on its ports. The pearling industry, in particular, brought great wealth to Bahrain, employing thousands of people. Chapter 6. The British Protectorate, Modernization and Unease. The 19th century saw the rise of the British Empire as a dominant force in the Persian Gulf. Seeking to protect their interest in India and counter the influence of other European powers, the British sought alliances with local rulers. In 1861, Bahrain entered into a treaty with Great Britain, becoming a British protectorate. This agreement granted the British control over Bahrain's foreign affairs and defence in exchange for protection and a measure of stability. The British presence had a profound impact on Bahrain. The British, eager to modernise their protectorate, invested in infrastructure projects, building schools, hospitals and a modern port. They also introduced a Western-style legal system and administrative practices, laying the groundwork for a modern state. The discovery of oil in Bahrain in 1932, the first such discovery in the Gulf, added another layer of complexity to the relationship with Britain. Chapter 7. Independence. Dawn, a new era for Bahrain. The decades following World War II witnessed the dismantling of European empires and the rise of independent nations across Asia and Africa. Bahrain, too, was swept up in this tide of change as calls for independence grew louder. In 1971, after negotiations with the British government, Bahrain declared its independence, marking the end of the British protectorate. Sheikh Isa bin Salman Al Khalifa, the ruler of Bahrain, became the newly independent nation's first emir. Independence ushered in an era of rapid transformation for Bahrain. The country, eager to assert its place on the world stage, embarked on an ambitious program of modernization and development, leveraging its oil wealth to build a modern infrastructure and diversify its economy. Bahrain, strategically located in the Gulf, sought to position itself as a hub for trade, finance and tourism. Chapter 8. Navigating the late 20th century. Reforms and unrest. The late 20th century was a turbulent period for the Middle East, marked by regional conflicts, political upheavals and social change. Bahrain, despite its small size, found itself navigating these choppy waters. In the 1990s, Bahrain experienced a period of political unrest as calls for greater political participation and democratic reforms grew louder. The government, led by Emir Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, responded with a mix of repression and reform. In 2002, Bahrain took a significant step towards political reform, transitioning from an emirate to a constitutional monarchy. Emir Hamad became King Hamad, and a new constitution was introduced promising greater political freedoms and a more representative government. These reforms, however, did not quell all dissent. Chapter 9. The Arab Spring and its Aftermath. A Nation Divided. In 2011, the Arab Spring, a wave of pro-democracy protests that swept across the Middle East and North Africa, reached Bahrain. Inspired by uprisings in Tunisia and Egypt, thousands of Bahrainis, mostly from the Shia majority, took to the streets, demanding greater political freedoms, social justice, and an end to discrimination. The Bahraini government's response to the protests was swift and severe. Security forces cracked down on demonstrations using tear gas, rubber bullets, and live ammunition. A state of emergency was declared, and opposition leaders were arrested. The crackdown on the protests drew international condemnation, with human rights groups accusing the Bahraini government of using excessive force and violating human rights. The government, however, defended its actions, claiming that the protests were being exploited by foreign powers and that its priority was to maintain order and stability. Chapter 10. Bahrain Today, a Nation Forging Ahead. Today, Bahrain stands at a crossroads. The country has made significant strides in economic development, boasting a diversified economy and a high standard of living for many of its citizens. Bahrain has positioned itself as a regional hub for finance, tourism and technology, attracting foreign investment and fostering innovation. The country has also made progress in promoting interfaith dialogue and tolerance, hosting the first 2 editions of the Bahrain Dialogue Forum, which brought together religious leaders from around the world to promote understanding and cooperation. However, challenges remain. The legacy of the Arab Spring continues to cast a shadow, with political divisions persisting and concerns about human rights abuses lingering. The government's crackdown on dissent has drawn criticism from international organizations, and calls for greater political freedoms and inclusivity continue. Bahrain's future will depend on its ability to address these challenges and build a more just and equitable society. The enduring spirit of Bahrain. From its ancient origins as a potential paradise to its modern incarnation as a globalized nation, Bahrain's story is one of resilience, adaptation, and the enduring human spirit. Throughout its long history, Bahrain has been a crossroads of cultures, a melting pot of ideas, and a testament to the power of human connection. As we've seen, Bahrain's journey has been marked by both triumphs and tribulations. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through Bahrain's history, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating historical insights. See you next time.